So one way we check on wrist health is to see if our extensors can take us into a 90-90 at the wrist joint. Most people are here and sometimes the hands are gripped and they can't get straight. And so to increase that range of motion or keep it healthy, I'm going to go over a few exercises today. The first thing we want to talk about is passive versus active range of motion. So as you can tell, I can actively get pretty close to a 90-90. You'd have to tell me from that angle if I'm just seeing things, but generally you'd want to be able to sit against a wall and hold your hand flat against the wall with the arms parallel to the floor and be able to get your palm off the wall itself. So to pull it back using these extensor muscles. And so that would be active range of motion. Now, if you can only get somewhere like this, you might notice that if you sit on the ground like this, you can get into a passive, more forceful range of motion. So you want to keep those elbows straight too here so that it's not a false range of motion. And here I can see that I can get pretty far past that 90 degrees of extension. But when I come up like this, I lose a little bit of that range of motion actively. So the first exercise obviously would be to primer and find your passive range of motion. You could do some rocking to kind of mobilize the wrists, and that could be your first exercise. And then after that, you want to again check your extensors. So now that they're mobilized with the passive stretch, see where they can actively go. And then here's a drill I like to add after that to kind of teach your body how to move other joints while keeping that 90-90 wrist extension. So we'll go here, nice and tall through the crown. You can do this standing, sitting in a chair, or kneeling on the floor like I am. And from here, we're just going to bend the elbows only, keeping that 90 degrees of extension. You can burn up your extensors really quick here, so feel free to shake it out. And when shaking it out, another good way to loosen them back up for another round would be these wrist circles back and forth, keeping the wrists together at all angles if possible. So back to this, extensor, 90-90, elbow flexion and extension. Then we could go here and there trying to keep it. You'll notice a big difference per side. Almost like you want to put your hands on the floor behind you for a back bend or bridge. And you can explore lots of different ranges of motion, but elbow flexion, extension, elbow flexion, and then shoulders back, shoulders down to 90-90, and back. This alone will burn up those extensors and help condition the extensors to hold a 90-90 in more positions. The third exercise you can do with the active range of motion, if you can get about 90-90, or even if you're somewhere like this, you can still use the wall. But you're using the wall as a guide, and we're going to get some rotation at the shoulder joint and see how far we can go. It's okay if the fingers kind of press into the wall. Just imagine if someone's trying to push your hand into the wall, you're pushing back. So you want to have your extensors nice and lit up here, and we're going for internal rotation at the shoulder joint, external rotation at the shoulder joint, trying to touch the wall less and less. You might find a lot of blockages here. Again, loosen them up, go into your passive range, and then try the active range. And you can dance around those different exercises and see which ones work best for you, but try all of them and see if you can get some more active wrist extension.